Take two, A-Mark.
Hi, this is Edward Zwick. I'm the director of Legends of the Fall.
My name is Lily Kilvert. I'm the production designer.
And we thought it might be of interest to those of you who like the film to see just how we constructed Helena, Montana in its period out of modern-day Vancouver. And this is something that Lily Kilvert and I spent a lot of time working on. And I think it's a very interesting piece of film that shows you just what we tried to accomplish.
Yeah, and what was great about it for me is that we had this one street, and we had to make it look like more than it was. So we had a little forced perspective at the end of the street. But we had 3 days, exactly 3 days, to install the entire street. And every building on the street had a facade. Some had two-story facades, some had one-story facades. And we did these rehearsals where we would, go into town and just practice putting one up and see how fast we could get it put up. So that when finally our 3 days came, it really went like clockwork. Except for one thing, we had ordered all the dirt to come. And what they sent instead of dirt was pebbles. And when the wranglers came, they said, well, we can't walk on the street because the horses will get their feet stuck. So we had to scrape it all up that night in the middle of the night and drive around mad like in Vancouver trying to find dirt. And we came in at 3 o'clock in the morning with truckload after truckload out of dirt and spread it. And basically it was great because once it started to rain, it was just the mud that we'd seen throughout the entire movie. And right out of the corner of, if you looked just one direction the wrong way, you'd see those modern buildings. And you never know it when you see the film. There was a wonderful book of photographs from Montana in that period that I did look at. And the one thing about research, the way that I do it, is I try to learn everything I possibly can, and then I take off from there. I want to honor the rules of the period. There were cars and horses. It was a new world. The Industrial Revolution was really taking off. And to bring that feeling of the tension between the old world and the new, I felt that was really important. And through researching what the cities were like. For example, so much wire was strung in a city at that point that we hung miles and miles and miles of wire in the Helena streets, just so that people would see how congested and exciting a period of time it was. That everybody thought that the world there was no end to their ability to succeed. And then when World War I happened, it was the loss of innocence completely. One of the things that happened very early on is we went to look at a location in Winnipeg, which had these fabulous streets to be downtown Helena, but they had planted these little trees. And the concept in that period of time was man suppressed nature, and they didn't plant little trees in the middle of towns until later. So I said, oh, this is going to be great, we'll just have to take out the trees. Well, of course it's Canada, you never take the trees out. So we had to go somewhere else where they didn't have trees planted on the streets. But to me it would have ruined the effect of the difference between nature and the created world, and the industrial world that was coming. And I really wanted to feel that tension throughout the movie.
Action!
This is a nice shot because really, we've done a small street with a forced perspective, it feels longer, but by moving through that, the musical stand and down onto the street, you really get the feeling of a really busy, busy town. It's a movie in a grand scale. To make an epic film, it's for filming, I don't think there's anything more satisfying because we had everything. We had war, we had passion, we had murder, we had cities, we had countries. It was epic. It was wonderful.
Well,
it's exhilarating at the end of every day to realize that we got away with another day.